Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Let's Livestream. This week, we're going to be talking about virtual conferences, some of the pros, the cons, what some of your experiences are. And we even have a really nice guest on today, Lottie Hearn, and I am really excited to talk with her because she was just a part of a virtual conference that had been going on, and it was broadcast worldwide called Ladies Go Live, and we wanted to bring her on as it's a virtual conference guest on Let's Livestream. So without too much more ado, let's get right into the rules to make sure that so we have enough time to really talk about this today. So just kind of really starting right off the bat, guys, we do have four major rules for everybody. And one, it's every time you tweet, forevermore. No, just during this Twitter chat, just use the hashtag Let's Livestream. This way, everybody else is going to be able to help keep track and be able to follow the conversation. Just being able to do that search, you'll be able to find it on Twitter. The second thing is that when you're answering a question, just use the letter A and then whatever number for the question that you're answering. It helps everybody understand what is actually going on and which question you're answering. The other thing is that please remember, because this is a Twitter chat that's hosted on Twitter and a live stream, we would love to have you guys follow us on both. So you can just find us on Let's Livestream on Twitter, and you can find that also on Periscope. If you're really confused and you'd really just like to learn more about us, go over to letslivestream.com, and you'll be able to sign up for our email newsletter and be able to catch the latest broadcast after we finish this episode. We'll post it on that page, and you'll be able to find it there. And last but not least, guys, I really hope that every episode that we do, you guys learn something. You guys have a really great time because of the community involved, as well as having a chance to share this broadcast out. And I would really ask you right now, just please do that. If you would, please just share it out. And I'm going to check and just be able to check to see who's actually watching us live today, because we are live on Periscope. We are live on Facebook over at VitMug. And you are able to find us over there as I click into that. Awesome. I am glad to see a good handful of you guys there. Darcy, thank you for joining us on Periscope. And who else is watching? Lindsay Badger's watching us on Facebook, in addition to a number of other people. Thank you guys for doing that. So we are down to the last little bit. Are you guys ready? I hope you guys are all ready for all the questions. We have them scheduled out. They are pre-scheduled, but it's only because I can't do more than two things at once, which is talk and look at the screen. So that's the next thing. So guys, here in the next 60 seconds, question one is going to be going out. I hope you guys are all watching us and or participating on Twitter. And now that I'm able to check this out, awesome. I see you guys in Periscope. I see, yeah, I do see Lottie. There you are. And I do see Lottie. You're both in there. And VitMug. So thank you guys for joining us today. This is great. Here, as we're getting ready for question one, it is going to come right up. But can we just bring on Lottie real quick? I don't know. Do we have the technology to be able to do that? I don't know. I don't know if we do or not. But there we go. Hey, Lottie, can we hear you too?
When I stop doing a Lottie and remember to unmute my microphone, then yes, you can hear me, Jonathan.
That's great. Lottie, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're able to be here.
Thank you very much for having me, even though I've had to put down my fish and chips and come on screen with you here. But thank you, I appreciate it.
That's right, because you're a couple hours ahead of us. Would you just real quick and tell everybody who doesn't know who you are? I mean, I know who you are. I've worked with you a bunch of times and stuff, but would you just tell everybody just briefly just about who you are and actually also where you are?
Well, hello, I'm Lottie Hearn, and I call myself a video coach here in Ireland. And what I do is I help people who want to learn how to do this or want to use video as a tool to learn how to present you as the best you that you can be, to be seen on screen, and hashtag share your biz story so that you're sharing and caring rather than telling and selling. So I help you discover your own style of confidence on camera. And I'm in Ireland, by the way, Jonathan.
Lottie, that was really good. I'm really impressed. That was right there. All right, we have our first question up. So let's skip right over to that and give everybody a chance to be able to both see it and actually respond. Remember, guys, this is a Twitter chat as well as a live stream, so you can participate with other people, not just on this platform, but also on Twitter. The first question is going out. Have you ever participated? I did add that one word in there. Have you ever participated in a virtual conference? And Lottie, if there was one softball, easy question that I could think of giving you, this is the one. Lottie, have you ever participated?
Have I participated? Yes. Yes. Well, I've actually been involved in a couple of different in various different formats. The obviously Ladies Go Live was at the end of August, which was done the day before the US Women's Equality Day, and Ladies Go Live was set up to for a number of different reasons. It was to help women, to inspire women especially, because we do find it sometimes, generically speaking, women find it sometimes more difficult to go live, to build up the confidence to do this. That is purely from a known sources that feedback that we've had ourselves, but it can be a male and a female thing, folks, as well. So Ladies Go Live was set up to build a community, to bring together speakers. We managed to have over 40 speakers from every country all around the world, from Australia, Korea, well, not every country, sorry, every continent around the world. Australia, Korea, Singapore, India, South Africa, Europe, number of speakers in Europe, UK, Ireland, across the States, Canada, South America, and all the way to Hawaii with the lovely Angeline Longshore, who was our opening speaker, and who actually stayed with us all day to be there at the end when we built in the fun. So it was learning and fun, infotainment, edutainment, inspiration, which I love, from our co-founder, our founding ideas woman, Tina Kavalant, who came up with, we need to learn how to both inspire and educate anytime that we go live. So that was all part and parcel of what was happening at Ladies Go Live, helping more people to go live.
Well, I really like that, the aspect of the Ladies Go Live. In an all full disclosure here, I helped produce the show. So I mean, this was a little bit of like, I wanted your perspective kind of after the dust has settled, because that was a busy day. There was a lot of people, and I want to say, if I said the number of, number of people involved, or the speakers, we're like in the 30s and 40s, plus all the behind the scenes people just to make the event happen. So that day it was well planned. And it was took a lot of time to think, what are we going to do about this and how to do this, so that the day when technical things happened, and when people weren't able to show up because of this or that reason, which happens, because that's just life. That's, just because it's virtual doesn't mean that, I mean, in real life stuff doesn't happen. But because of all the planning and all the prep you guys did, I think the day went off very well, on my end, as well as from what I kept hearing from everybody else. So that is a big kudos to you. So you've been involved in Ladies Go Live. Have you been involved? Have you done other, or whether it's been a participant, a speaker, an organizer? Have you ever done anything like this before?
Well, not on the scale of Ladies Go Live. I mean, in my other world, I'm actually a professional speaker, and I'm a speaker coach as well. So I actually help people learn how to present on stage, but I focus on really getting people on camera. But in previous lives, I've spoken all around the world. I've been at summits all around the world, conventions, conferences. I've spoken on main stages. But one of the lovely things that I now really love doing is actually using live stream. And I'm in the process of setting up, I wanted to be a business and a community of Stream Team Global, where we can have people who go live at conferences, live events and conferences, to connect and bring that sense and that feeling of what is it like to actually be at these events that you may not be able to attend because you don't live in Ireland, or you don't live in London, or you don't live in New York. I can't get to fly to see you guys and attend every conference that you guys go to, all these amazing conferences. So what I do locally for events and organizations, the All Ireland Summit, the Professional Speaking Association conferences, for Network Ireland conferences, I run around with my trusty iPad here. And this is my virtual studio with a microphone, and I run around with this, and I video bomb people left, right, and center. So people get the feeling of what it's like, and we meet the speakers behind the scenes. So that's why it was important for us at Ladies Go Live to not only have what you produced brilliantly yourself and Jen Nelson at the VitMug team actually produced for us as the live shows, the keynote speakers, the main stage speakers, the panels, but also to have the fun in between bits. When wonderful Claudia Santiago came on at lunchtime and brought her Vida crew, and they're actually now setting up a whole new site to sharing the support that they shared globally with Ladies Go Live. And we've actually already, I'm talking to people in Singapore about how we can bring Singaporean speakers and businesses using these tools to create and build virtual summits and virtual events so that we can bring that big stage feeling to the small screen, because that's what it's all about, really. It's how much fun is it to do all these. We had a great day.
It
was
is a lot of fun to do because you're connecting with people everywhere. Like it's not just, well, my little circle of friends or, just the people I've worked with a long time. And people certainly do that. And there's no problems with that. What I really liked about what the Ladies Go Live did in particular was in quite honest fact, it literally brought women from around the world together to talk about things they care about.
yeah.
And I think it did change and impact people and not just other women, because I know that for a fact, I do know a couple of guys were watching, were able to share and they benefited
You're
from it.
welcome.
But that was the gist of it.
Yeah. And the great thing is, Jonathan, is what a lot of people don't know, because I was booking all of the speakers for all of this and connecting and speaking to nearly every speaker who joined us on the day, is that for at least two of them, if not more, live streaming became their lifeline. The amazing Babylon Brooke, who after a horrific spine injury, was literally on her back for many, many, many months, discovered that by having a special setup with her phone above her head, she could actually still communicate with the outside world. And she was housebound. She was housebound for well over a year. Bridget Limbandi in South Africa, she can sometimes be housebound with her debilitating illnesses that are happening with her. So this isn't just about business. Yes, ultimately, we're all trying to use live stream to grow a business. And I know, Jonathan, that this is something you've been looking at as well, and how VitMug has grown over this time. But for people who are just starting out live streaming, it's the knowledge that this can be a lifeline to connect people no matter where you are in the world. We've actually all got very, very similar issues, rich and poor all around the world, people drinking out of mugs or not all around the world, finding the right mug to drink from. We all have the same problems, but the one commonality between all of the countries, the people that we spoke to, is nearly everybody has one of these in their pocket. So they have access to a mobile phone probably before they'd feed themselves in some places. So this is where live events and live summits allow us to connect around the world and learn those cultural differences, but also the cultural similarities that actually connect all of us. And you kind of go, whoa, so much division around the world right now. These are the sorts of things that bring everybody together to realize we're just human beings doing the best we can in the place that we live in our world, sharing our stories, our tips, our secrets, our successes, our shames, our sorrows, and that there are other people around the world going through exactly the same things, and we're there to support each other. And that's really what it comes down to personally for me, of the joy of being involved in something like this, really.
In doing a virtual conference like this, and particularly with Ladies Go Live, as we're kind of getting into the second question here, and the second question just is really dealing with our virtual conferences, the future of these events or of events in general. And I don't want to say an absolute yes, this is the way things are going. What I see right now, I think that the technology is going to be able to be way more immersive, and obviously in first world or developed technologically countries where you're able to enjoy be able to use things like augmented reality, virtual reality, and those types of technologies, those are just simply not available all over the world. However, some of the advantages of just being able to do a simple live stream and just do a broadcast out, there are places in that are geographically inaccessible to be able to make to be able to have a speaker fly in, or be able to have 1,000, 5,000 people come in. It's just not feasible. And virtual conferences have seemed to have answered a lot of those problematic, whether it's a time, the amount of time it takes to get to an event, or the getting that many people in one place in such like that. But and I know personally, I've been involved with a number of virtual conferences, whether it was Startup Con Live, we've produced a couple overseas. We've helped in some of the lead up and the preview events for some of these other, some of the other live conferences that were both put on live in person, as well as being broadcast out as a virtual conference as well. But Ladies Go Live was an exclusively virtual conference, in things like this. But Lottie, from your perspective, and I say that because you work with a lot of speakers, a lot of coaches, and a lot of like one-on-one. Do you think that virtual conferences are really the future of these kinds of events, or do you think it's just maybe like an off branch? It's just one of those things that are going to happen along with us.
Well, I think what we need to do first of all, Jonathan, is to actually do some re-education here, because as a speaker who gets booked to speak both at live events and who's been involved in organizing virtual summits, what we need to recognize, and this is a conversation that I've been having with Ricky Arundel, who's based in the UK, and she's known as the gender speaker, and she and myself, we do a fair amount of pro bono charity give back community speaking for very low or no speaking fee. But unfortunately, when you have to travel a long way to do that, and you're paying for the costs of your travel, suddenly it becomes more and more difficult when, especially if a paid client turns up. So what we need to do is to educate event organizers that this, especially when you have access to professional production like you guys at VitMug are actually delivering to the world, this is the first and new and best that I have seen to deliver something like this. And imagine being at an event where we could actually be interviewed like this, but then we could also have another screen where there are people, 1,000 people in the room behind who are coming up to ask a question live on the mic. And I've seen that happen, and people get so excited about doing that they're in the room, the speaker's not there. People are a bit confused about it. What have I paid for? Why isn't this person here? But when you kind of, the re-education and the learning that will happen, because in the recession when I was working at Coca-Cola, I had to look after all the travel budgets for the whole marketing team. And suddenly when people were not allowed to travel, suddenly it seemed like business was gone. So I then started helping some of the people who had to then use video conferencing to have meetings and host meetings, and actually meetings with the whole boardroom, the whole 28 people in the organization, meeting up with 300 people in London and virtually to have meetings, and people from around the world. Suddenly it becomes, if the corporates, they can do it because they've had the money, but actually we as individuals and solopreneurs and entrepreneurs and collaborators, as I always like to call myself, we can actually react faster. And because of the likes of you bringing tools like this, and there are free ways of doing it, like Jen was saying to me today, through using Zoom and OBS, but you just have to learn how to do it. But what you guys enabled us to do so brilliantly for to produce those shows for us on the day, that's where we can re-educate in the most professional way. Because I think there's two-pronged attack. As professional speakers on stage who want to be able to still earn a speaking fee, but speak from home without the travel, that needs re-educating to conference organizers. But then also as live streamers, it is our responsibility, your responsibility, folks, to actually appear here in this small screen with the same mentality and professionalism as if you were talking to a live audience, whether that's 20 or 2,000 people. I've been in rooms with both. I've performed on stages all around the world as a professional actress. I know what it's like and what you have to bring to the performance. So that's why my niche is I want to help people learn how to be you, but the best you that you can be, whether that's high energy or whether that is more centered and calm. But it's got to suit you and the message and the story that you're bringing with that professional element. When TED and TEDx start doing these virtually, they'll be all over the world. But I want us as the people who were there at the beginning of live stream to be leading this charge, folks, please.
You know, when we talk about like what the actual, you know, the virtual landscape is looking like, and, you know, I mean, some of it really is just, it's dictated by the technology, both on the broadcast side, on the production end of it, but it's also on the receiving end of it. Because I mean, if you're trying to watch a live stream and you just simply just don't have the bandwidth, so to speak, and both literally and just figuratively. I mean, if your computer can't download and can't stream video, then, you know, I mean, it becomes nobody really cares. Like it really doesn't matter. It doesn't impact us the same. But when you are able to connect, and you know, sometimes when we're doing these shows, you know, today we have a guest on, and so, you know, it's you and I being able to interact a little bit, as well as then being able to hop over to you know, and bounce between Periscope and Twitter and see what everybody's saying and doing all those things at the same time. You know, because it's like being in it's like being in real life at a conference when you have somebody that's speaking. You know, you're listening to what they say, and then being able to be able to take time out and to, hey, let's do a Q&A, or like, oh, let's see what so and so said. It gives, you know, there's a ebb and a flow. There's a give and a take to it. But so in kind of in considering those kinds of things, you know, our third question today, which is, you know, what is the value of virtual conferences? And I know you were kind of speaking to that a little bit, that, you know, it puts everybody in, you know, both on a level playing field in terms of accessibility, as long as the technology is there. And obviously, I mean, that means that, I mean, you have to have the technology in place in order to be able to enjoy a live stream. But what it also does, I think it levels the playing field in terms of, it makes it accessible. What if, you know, if somebody, I don't have 10 hours or 12 hours of travel time to even just fly to the other side of my own country, let alone to go over to overseas to Britain or Ireland or something like that. I don't have the time in my travel schedule to be able to do it. And now it's being,
You can't fit your girls in the suitcase, Jonathan.
they don't let me do that. I know, right? But I mean, this is the same thing that a lot of people are running into. You know, they don't have that accessibility, not because of maybe it's not necessarily a lack of funds, but look, I can't be in California and you know, and Ireland at the same time, or with a 2-day turn, or with a 24-hour turnaround. It's just not feasible. And I think virtual conferences kind of solve that problem.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like if you look at the fact that we had Luria Petrucci, who was desperately trying and wanting to come and join us. She did a pre-show with us to be a speaker, but then she was worried. She thought it was later in the day, because she'd just been at the podcast movement to be inaugurated to the Hall of Fame there. And so she wasn't flying back until the middle of the night. So she didn't know if she could be up at 7 o'clock in the morning to do it. And she was afraid that the flights, she would miss it. So there's so many different things that we're all connected in with, and that we're all involved in so many different places around the world. But I think, Jonathan, on that point as well, what we have to think about is, as an attendee, so the question that you had there was, what's the value of virtual conferences? Yes, we've spoken about the value for speakers and for conference organizers. But for attendees, one thing I want to reiterate to people, please, is whether you are going live and you've paid a big price for a live conference that could be anywhere from 20 euros to 2,000 euros. For some of the conferences that we pay for here in Ireland. When you pay that much, you go with the intention. You have your notebook, you have your ticket, you have your ID around your neck with your name badge and everything else. So what we need to think of is re-educate. Just because you're sitting at home or in your office watching or listening, maybe just with the sound, maybe you don't even need the visuals. Maybe you're an audio person who likes to listen, and you can still potter around and do things and get other things done. But if you want to get the core true value of a virtual summit, treat it as if it's one of those summits that you've paid to attend, because not all virtual summits are free as well, ladies. Go Live, we chose to do that for you. And we will continue to choose to do that for as long as we possibly can, because we have other ways of getting membership upgrades, VIP memberships, with selling the audio, the video recordings afterwards, membership clubs, gifts, giveaways, bonuses, all that sort of thing. But when you're there watching on the day, please take it seriously that this is for your learning and development. Give yourself the time, whether it is the 2 hours in the morning or the 2 hours in the afternoon or the whole day, but have your notepad, have your water, keep the notes, ask the questions, interact, get involved with everything, because that's when your feedback counts. And remember, we on purpose made it a little bit tricky to get into Ladies Go Live because we wanted people to take this seriously. So we created links via Eventbrite, as you would for a normal event that you go to. You had to have a ticket number, you had to access 2 viewing rooms, which were like 2 separate venues that you needed to go to, and you had to show your ticket at this venue, and you had to show your ticket at that venue. So we chose to do that on purpose rather than just throwing it up everywhere, because we want people to appreciate the value of these speakers who had given their time for free from all around the world.
Well, I want to ask you just a kind of it's not one of the official questions, but I want to ask you, how do you think this model works for non-business or non-marketing or very, like, in a lot of in our world? I mean, that's kind of what we do. Does it work for dentists or lawyers or, veterinarians or things like this? Does it work in other industries?
Yeah, I don't see why not in any way, shape, or form. But also you can think that a virtual summit can be with 10 people or 20 people in a core group. If your summit is all about how are we fundraising for our community to put the roof on the church, or how are we fundraising to raise awareness for our charity organization, how are we sharing stories, cancer stories, which is something that I did very dear to my heart as a survivor, and that I know I'm wanting to build on over the next year, is to help people share your cancer stories. Summits and events, they don't have to be a whole day. They can be 2 hours. They can be half a day, a full day. They can be more than a day if you want to. But I think communities, businesses, organizations, networks especially, I'm looking, Jen and I and Tina, we're already talking about something in association with International Women's Day next year. And without giving too much away, I was already saying to Jen, what I'd like to do for my give back is actually Network Ireland is the largest women's networking group here in Ireland. And they always have a big day on International Women's Day here in Dublin. If we can do it, as Jen said, some time before then, we can actually get everybody set around the world for International Women's Day and knowing what's happening in your region. I would love to get for half an hour to get presidents from Network Ireland, from each of the 12 regions, there in a room, being able to say, yep, this is what we do. This is how we fundraise for charity. This is how we connect women across Ireland. Yes, business women come from the UK and Europe. Please come and join us. I'd love to help grow some of those communities internationally. Like there must be groups that your wife and your family are involved with, Jonathan, that you can kind of see, oh, actually my daughter's school projects. What could think of something like that could be involved with International Women's Day for young people.
That's where I really do think that when we think of like the business technical side of this, like as a producer on that side, or someone who broadcasts like this, regularly, I think sometimes we kind of get caught in in just like this little cycle that says, look, I have to do it this way, and these are the only people that I'm able to maybe market this idea to, and on all of a sudden it's like we have like tunnel vision. And it kind of gets me thinking about, and I know maybe you're a little bit removed from it, but here in the US, we just had Hurricane Harvey that was happening, in the Gulf Coast region, affecting a lot of the southern states in the United States. And now we've got Hurricane Irma coming right on, and it's going up the Bahamas and in a lot of the Caribbean region. It's going to hit Florida pretty much straight on. It's what it's looking like. And what we're
Well,
seeing is that
I know
it's
with that one, Jonathan, I know that both Tina Chitachi, they're
Mhm.
both in Florida. I think Bren Haas, another one
Yep.
of our speakers. We
There's a lot of them. That's right.
Gabby Wild. I think there's a lot of our speakers who are actually involved.
Hmm.
That's their part of the world. So I'm set for us here. Hearing about, we only hear about it on the news. All we can do is send our love and support
Hmm.
and say, please stay safe, everybody, and take care of each
Yeah,
other.
take care of it,
Yeah.
and be able to, and for those of us that are not directly affected like that, it's a little easier for us in terms of to be able to say, oh, somebody else is going to take care of. And this was the challenge we put out last week in our last episode. And we challenge people to say, hey, when if you want to be able to help out, and maybe say you can't do it monetarily, you can't maybe fly over here or drive down. And I know a number of friends in my local area that just left in the last day or two to go down, now that the crisis, the initial weather crisis, has, and literally the waters are pulling back now. They're now going down for the cleanup efforts and to help, just mend wounds. And sometimes, that's quite literally what they're doing. But for those of us that are not able to do it, what we kind of put out there as a hey, this is a way that you can help, is to actually just be able to share, out some of the needs, and asking some of our fellow live streamers, social media, or people that have businesses, whether it's locally or internationally, to be able to help out with some of the victims of Hurricane Harvey. And I'm sure that this is going to then roll over into the victims of Irma. But we asked if you want to go over to letslivestream.com/helping with Harvey. And I'm actually going to post it I'm going to post it on our Periscope right now, as well as in our Facebook. And really all this is trying to get a sense, a barometer for the community of saying, would you be able to help with maybe say, sharing out a post? Would you, for those that have needs, and that there's a very tangible way, because sometimes people just don't know what the needs are, and they don't necessarily want to help with this organization, or that they want to be able to help in a very specific way. This is a really good chance for a lot of people to be able to do that. You can also use, and I know we tweeted this, but using the hashtag hands on Harvey as a way to kind of, like in a Twitter chat, we use let's live stream as a hashtag, be able to find and search, but hands on Harvey is another way to be able to do this. And the reason why I kind of bring it up both as a look, this is something we all need to keep top of mind, because I know last week it was in the news, and now it's this week, and I don't think it would do any good thing for us just to kind of then pass it on. Oh, now it's old news. And I don't think that that our community would feel that way, or that would do those victims justice that way. But then as it's kind of relating into what we're talking about today, virtual conferences, and again, getting into this idea that, oh, are we just trying to market to mar the markets, or trying to get business people in? Sometimes it's about a cause. Sometimes it's about, hey, maybe we need to do something like this, or organize something like what you have, trying to bring in multiple sources and trying to help frame frame good resources for people that are suffering, or that have gone through some kind of a tragedy or some kind of a loss. And I think that would be another really interesting application of this kind of a technology for those people that really do care. So I know, and I want to make sure that we're kind of keeping straight on into question number 4. And question number 4, just really briefly, I'll just put it out. I know it's already on Twitter. It says, are you more likely to attend a virtual conference or an in-person conference? And again, I'm going to post these in the different live streams that we're on today, trying to keep up with what you guys are talking about and chatting about. But what do you guys think? If you're watching this live on Periscope, make sure put your put your answer in the Periscope. I'm actually be able to, I can actually read it and check on it. Same thing with, if you're watching us on Facebook, and whether it's through VitMug, or if you're watching in Live Talk Nation, our Facebook group, doesn't really matter where you guys found us. Just drop your answer. What do you think? Um, do you think you're more likely to attend a virtual conference, or maybe that you'd say, no, I'm going to pass on those. I really just want the in-person stuff. What do you think? And that goes for you too. I'll turn it over to you, to Lottie. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually just putting my answer
Oh,
in
she's
here.
tweeting it out. Look.
Having just signed up with Help with Harvey, because and coming back to that quickly before I answer this, Jonathan, I love the fact that you've got different options there that you can say that you can do, whether it's sharing posts or simply organizing lives. Like I know Tina Valant was saying one of her posts was help in the way that people need help, because there were piles, a rubbish pile of clothes that weren't actually needed. So I think this whole thing of, as our live streaming community, let's connect in, like Jen's family as well, Jen Nelson's family. Big love to you, Jen, with all of your family down there too. People who know, who have family there who can connect, or Jen and I will be checking in with Tina and making sure she and her family are okay. Tina will be telling us live from the space what people really need down here is this. And we will then be sharing it out to people. And it's this is where this live stream community and the virtual summits as fundraisers or connectors, or ways in which you can educate, inspire. We spoke at Ladies Go Live about philanthropy, creativity, the inspiration, and the business side of things. But the business side of things was only 2 out of 5 panels. So that we called philanthropy, which we also covered all of this fundraising, awareness raising, as the heartbeat of live streaming and live videos. So exactly what you're doing. I love the fact that you've done the Help with Harvey. So signed up there myself already. And then on the Twitter chat, I'm literally just tweeting out to question 4.
Right.
I like to attend a live or a live stream event. I will always go to both myself personally.
Okay.
Having attended very well organized live events, very poorly organized live events, having attended very well organized virtual events.
Right.
And the interesting thing is that some people may say with live summits, a lot of them aren't very well. It's like it's not very well organized or whatever. But the thing is, they're all so new. Like with Ladies Go Live, Jonathan, you know as well, you were kind of like, things changed last minute. Technology had to change last minute. So we roped in all the help that we could get to make it as successful as we could. But the other coda to your question, Jonathan, is not only are you more likely to attend, but what would you like to gain, or what have you gained from one versus the other? What do you see you could gain more? Or what is it that may have stopped you from attending from places and summits that you've seen? Because those are the learning questions we as live streamers need to learn about, so that we can help. Ladies Go Live, part of our aim is we want to help other people learn how to do this themselves and to build this community.
I wanted to touch base and kind of go over. I saw some of our Facebook viewers. They're watching because we were asking. Are you more likely to attend a virtual? And the best answer I love, and I know Carlos he says more in person. He prefers it and things like this. But Amber Zoller actually just messaged out. She says, this introverted, this introvert prefers virtual conferences, and I love that. And I don't think she's by herself in that. I think a lot of people do feel like they are just not up for big crowds and big travel and constantly they like being able to watch it and then close it.
Yeah. And there's a reason, Jonathan, that one of the top things that you'll see at a lot of the speaker events that I go to, one of the very first sessions somewhere in the day, it may be over breakfast or it may be a pre-event opening session, is how to network well today. That is, if on a really good live summit, that is part of it. And I've seen speakers, great friends of mine, who do brilliant exercises that both extroverts, introverts, introverted extroverts, and extroverted introverts and introverted introverts and extroverted extroverts can all
Hmm.
have a bit of fun with to relax you into the day. But there's a reason why how to network well topics are some of the biggest best sellers for online training, for coaching courses. Because, and what I do with the confidence, helping people have the confidence to just, how do you approach strangers who are all sitting in a huddle with their coffee? How
Hmm.
do you break up that gang of people who know each other? And
Hmm.
that's why I wander around with this, because I'll shove that in people's faces and say, could I possibly, please? And it's a great conversation starter.
Hmm.
So actually doing live streams yourself as an introvert or an extrovert from events is a fabulous way to get to go and meet some of the people that you might not normally have the guts or courage, because you can go, hey, I'm part of this live stream community. Could I possibly please have it?
Hmm.
Could I do a quick live stream with you? Could I use my phrase, video bomb you?
Right.
People always laugh when you say, can I video bomb?
And that kind of, we were talking about it before, and Sabrina Cadena on Periscope, she was kind of bringing that point up of of our question number 5, and just simply put, is the time and the cost savings of a virtual conference worth missing the actual physical interaction? And I mean, that's, I don't think there's one answer, but it's sometimes we wanted to ask this question in a, I want you to think about it. Is it right for you? Because some people, budget is, that's the limiting factor. Sometimes it's time and travel. That's the limiting factor. Sometimes they only want to catch one aspect. They're like, look, I want to catch the keynote, or I want to catch this specific thing. And so they're willing, but to watch it in a virtual sense, but not enough to be able to travel, hotel, time there. They just want to catch that one aspect, that one keynote, and be able to watch it. I mean, we see big brands like Apple. They do a virtual conference. I mean, they're broadcasting the live event, but that's how a lot of people that are not able to watch it in person be able to go and be there live. That's exactly how they experience it. I mean, I have no plans whatsoever to ever really attend an Apple event, but that's not because I don't like Apple. It's because it's a big investment. It's a big thing, and that it's not in my world. But I like listening to it while I do other things in my house, or while I'm writing a blog post, or if I'm planning out the next let's live stream or whatever the case is. So, I'd like to
Well,
hear
that's
and be able to catch what
that's where
everybody
you
else is
get
saying too.
research from as well, Jonathan, by attending the virtual summits.
Hmm.
That actually you can pick up some really good gems from people that actually you can put into a blog, or put into a vlog, or put into a live stream show, where you can pick up the latest news. I know a lot of people who went over to the West Coast, to San Diego, to the social media marketing conference from here. There was
Hmm.
a small gang, and they all came back. And because I'm part of the live stream community with them, got the hot gossip from events like that. So this is where I think, as live streamers, as a community, we are one step ahead of so many other businesses, because we communicate with each other, and actually the sharing and caring of all that amazing information, whether you can go or not go. And actually, as Carlos is saying on Facebook, he's housing friends from Florida who are running away from the hurricane. Is there may be life-threatening situations that prevent you from going live to events? But Carlos, bless him, thank you, Carlos, even though you're looking after your friends, thanks for joining us here on Let's Livestream, because that kind of thing, this is where you can still develop and grow and find ideas for your business, find ideas for your organization, for your network, that are going to help you to make
Hmm.
more of a success of that and build that community. So I think that the time and cost savings versus the physical interactions is, for me, being an outgoing person, yet I spend a lot of my time here in this studio. So actually, I have to force myself to get out of the door. When I'm out there, I love it. That's what gives me energy. But actually, I get just as much energy from interacting with you here, Jonathan, live,
Hmm.
and with an audience live, as I do from being at a live convention. It's just that this is slightly less tiring, slightly less time consuming, slightly less effort because I don't have to get in the car
Hmm.
or get on a bike
Right.
or go somewhere else. Um, but I think the other thing that we need to start educating and that will happen in the next few years, I remember National Speakers Association conference, their influence conference a few years ago. They had free access. There's hundreds and hundreds of professional speakers who join, and they had free access for us to virtually join. Then the next year they charged for it,
Hmm.
and then since then that hasn't been as successful. So I think you need to kind of go, right, what are the level, how many can we have at the level of free, to then slowly build into the fee, but only when you've got your massive core audience. So I
Hmm.
think with virtual summits being so new and so fresh, small fee, yes, $10, €10, 20, maybe up to 50, maybe 99 for a day. You never know. But even though it might be costing you quite a lot for certain software, do be aware that there will be a limit to how much people will pay
Hmm.
for a day.
Right.
And there is a lot of information out there for free
Yeah.
right now. So please don't get greedy too soon.
Hmm.
Share the love.
Well,
Share
just
the
because you see it on the internet doesn't make it true, right? Doesn't make it true. But I mean, I think when we're in this kind of realm, and I know we've been talking about this whole concept of virtual conferences from the from the attendee point of view, and even question 5, and as we get into question number 6, well, I think they're kind of talking about the very similar things, but we're talking about what's the time and the cost to actually go. Is it worth it? And I want to flip that question as we get into question number 6 here in about a minute or so. Um, you know, uh, but what about from the organizer sets standpoint? Yes, there are differences. Both, I mean, you have to reserve a venue, a physical, and we're talking about in real life. You have to reserve a venue. You've got to, if you're flying in guests, you've got to be able to we're even just talking about just the marketing materials, and because now you actually have to print stuff, you have to have tangible things. Usually it's to put something in people's hands. Maybe it's maybe it's lanyards and things like this, and be able to do giveaway. There's just lots of different things, and but when it comes to a virtual, you can just X out a lot of those. And I've seen some articles that are like, look, you're starting at $20,000 to be able to put on a live event. That's worth people flying to. Now we're not talking about, like, within the next maybe 20-minute drive to the venue, but I mean, we're talking about anybody that wants to come on in. You can fly in. I mean, they're like, yeah, $20,000 US that's a good starting place. But with a virtual conference, if you're an organizer, no, it's not even close to that. You can do it, and I can say this from personal experience, having done several of these. It's a fraction of the cost. It is a you would be actually kind of a little scared when you're like, really, that's it? Am I going to be able to get all that? Yes, because the technology is now in our hands. And that's where I want to get into question number 6. And if we bring that up, and the question number 6 is, and this is the real, and this is the last question, but this is the real question of the day. It's, do virtual speaking engagements keep your attention better than physical ones? And I kind of phrased it this way, but I mean, we can take it any other which ways that we want. But do virtual speaking engagement, does that actually keep people's attention enough to make it worth our time? I mean, I think that's the basic question. Lottie, what do you think?
Well, I think, Jonathan, it actually comes back to what I said a little bit earlier about the fact that we need to decide for ourselves as attendees, are we taking this seriously as an attendee of a virtual summit, just as much as if we had paid for our ticket to go in person and invested all that money to go in person? But think about it, the benefits and savings that you're saving in not paying for it, not investing in the hotel, the travel, the everything else. Actually, this is so much easier. Get your mindset into making this worthwhile for you. You need to choose to want to pay attention and to learn from this. And one thing I would say to everybody, was actually discussing it with one of my coaching clients today, about when he was asking this, is like, how much do people actually take on board when it is a video learning, and if they're watching a replay of a video, what's the difference of retention of knowledge between it being live and being a live video, a live stream, a live video, a recorded video, but edited video, blah, 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 blah. I was basically said it's the same answer. Adult learning, for anything that we repeat back and teach to somebody else, no matter where we got it from, in the Western world, adult learning, you will retain 90% or more of the information when you start to teach it or share it with somebody else. So one of the key things, and the reason again why we got people halfway through the day and at the end of the day, please jump on screen. Tell us, what have you learned today? Please come and share with us. What have you picked up? What's been your key learnings? So remember, if you are organizing this, to give that value, if you want to organize a summit, make sure that's built in, that you have some way that people will share back with you their learnings from the day. Because as you said, Jonathan, yeah, the cost of creating was next to nothing, but that's only because of phenomenally amazing goodwill of all of these brilliant women who chose to speak for us on the day, and people like yourself who chose to help us out on the day so that we could deliver that event for free.
And it does go hand in hand, as with the virtual conference and things like this. But even as if you have an association and you're trying to do these things, and you're the real cost difference for talking about virtual conference, it really comes down to the elimination of a lot of other needs. You don't need a physical location, which that's just in the nature of the day and age. Unless you can have somebody give it to you, and obviously then the fees are going to be reduced. But apples to apples, we're just talking about the payment is down. But when it comes to virtual speaking, are we able to keep our audience's attention? And to be honest, I mean, I think when you're forced to stay at an event, I think there's a certain incentive. When you drop a couple $1,000, yeah, you're going to be a little bit more invested, as opposed to saying, look, I'm going to watch this. I got something else to do. But you have now, with a virtual conference, you have the ability to go back for the most part. That's usually how people structure it. You have the ability to just quick pause it. I need to go check on this, or like a phone call comes in, you're able to multitask and actually come back to it. And so I don't think it is just like how many minutes are you able to have somebody to watch a thing, but maybe how many replays are you able to, how much actual real attention. I mean, because admit it, how many of you guys have sat in a conference and your eyes have just kind of glazed over because you've been sitting there for session after session. You really can't get up. You don't want to lose your spot or whatever, and you just start to just kind of glaze over, and it's like, all right, I don't remember what we just talked about, but I'm sure it was great. But so do we actually pay attention? I think the retention, like you were talking about, is really the question. Are you able to get people to take an action because they know that there's something that's been put out and there's a change, and now they have that aha moment and they're going to get going. Lottie, I already put it out there, but it's getting tweeted out now. It's like, this is your last chance, everybody. If you have a question, maybe that we didn't talk about, or something you do want to bring up, please tweet it out or drop it in the Facebook channel or put it in Periscope and let us know. I'd love to be able to catch it. And and I also want to be able to give you, Lottie, just a last minute or two here, as we're kind of closing up the show. Is there something that you want to add to today's show?
Well, I was thinking just actually what you were saying there, Jonathan, about the retention and again, the value of what we take out. It's how many times have you seen people in the afternoon of a summit? It's called, for speakers, it's called the graveyard shift. When you are booked to speak between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, you are the graveyard shift speaker, and you have to do something interactive. And if you've sat there and you just watch people at the end of the day, and people dozing off in lovely hot conference halls surrounded by hundreds of other people, Whereas actually here, I think because when you take this seriously, that this is part of your learning and development, you have the ability, like you said, Jonathan, to up and move and pop off to the ladies or the gents, get yourself some water, grab yourself a cold fish finger that you didn't get time to finish before you were thrown on air. Then you can take those breaks for yourself, and you can actually press pause. You can watch, and again, that's another reason why Ladies Go Live. We didn't stop the free on the dot of it finishing. We wanted it. This was global. We said originally it's going to be free for 24 hours from the start time, but because people had some issues to get into one of the rooms, or because again they didn't realize they needed a proper ticket and the ticket number, because of that we kept the free viewing going for another day. But the availability to have, and think about this when you are organizing your summit, a way in which you can get some payback. And the way that we have set it up is that all of our sales are through affiliate memberships as well with our speakers, so that we can hopefully, people will buy through their affiliate links, or they can buy directly from the Ladies Go Live site as well. That is actually giving some give back to us for organizing, for building this community. And we want to create this community to be something that benefits everybody who gets involved in some way, in some kind of monetary form. So we do have a 30% affiliate rate. And if people sell 10, it's 40% for everything that they sell. Because we've decided we're sick of this greedy, let's run an event, let's make as much money as we can for me, walk away from it, and then dump it. And everybody's going, oh, well, what now? No, we want to reinvest back in, give something back to the speakers so that they want to be involved next time. Put back into Ladies Go Live so we can do another event in early next, in 2018. But we'll get other volunteers. If anybody wants to, as part of Ladies Go Live, if you're part of the experience, if you were a speaker, if you were a viewer and you want to get involved to help out, maybe you know how to help out with Facebook marketing. What you will get in return is a VIP membership. So you'll save yourself what was $99, I think is now up to $197. You'll save yourself that. So there's all sorts of give backs and gifts. We'll help promote what you do, because this is what it's all about. And I think when you go into organizing a virtual summit, because we are so used to so much being free across the web, the wobbly worldwide, go in there with the attitude, as Tina says, Tina K. Vallant's catchphrase: serve, share, and shine. Yes, be seen on screen. It is your opportunity to be seen by more people and build your business and your community, but build it with love, passion, mission, SAS, which can be an acronym for whatever you want it to be. And I always love it: service, attitude, smiles, and sunshine. That's one for today. And I think, Jonathan, I always love the fact that that's what you bring to screen every time, is you're always focused on what's in it for the viewers. How are you helping people? And one of the reasons why I love coming on air with you guys so much, because it's such a privilege to be invited. I really, really, really do mean that.
Well, Lottie, thank you again for being a guest today, and being able to share some of your behind the scenes experience and just what it is that you're able to bring to the table today. Especially talking about Ladies Go Live and all of that. And we really do appreciate it. And also bringing your audience today too. They were able to watch, and I saw it in Twitter as well as on the Facebook and over on watching us on Periscope. We really do appreciate. We appreciate everybody that's been watching us. We love it, guys. We do this every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Let's Go Live, and you can actually go over to letsgolive.com. Just quick sign up for the email. I promise I'm not going to spam you, but I will be able to send you out, easy reminders. Hey, what's going on and what's going on next week. We actually have another guest, B. Smith, and you can find her on Twitter at Be Inspired Talk. We're going to be talking about streaming with some authenticity, and a lot of people feel that they have to put on, the game face, as it were. They have to be someone that they're not, and be really. She specializes in helping you realize who you really are on camera, and being able to put that out there, and kind of maybe getting over some of the fears, maybe getting over some of the hangups that a lot of us do. And it's even kind of like in public speaking, a lot of us feel we can do it, but it's not until we actually start to do it that we realize that, I need to get better at this. And so next week, we're going to be talking with B. Smith. It is going to be a great time. Again, Lottie, thank you so much for being here. And guys, with that, let's close out the show. And guys, I can't wait to see you next week. Take care.